The new patch teaser is out, and now we get to see what cards are gonna get balanced in the near future. We should be hearing about exactly what the changes are tomorrow, but until then, we can speculate. So, hope you enjoyed the video, and if you do, you know what to do. Now, let's check out the teaser.
You are not prepared!
And here it is, not that much to work with, but we can see one of the main offenders in here, which would be Fizzle, and the other one which got banned out of standard, which is Shaffar. And yeah, both of these cards are problematic. This one was enough problematic for it to get banned. And Fizzle for sure is getting on a lot of people's nerves, especially in Top Legend. Every second game is against this crap, and it's getting a little bit out of hand. On the other hand, we also can see that Protoss is getting one of their cards buffed, and I guess that does make some sense. Feels like Protoss is the one left out so far from the meta. Both Zerg and Terran have been finding some great success in Top Legend even, whereas Protoss is still kinda on the sidelines for the most part. Starting off with Fizzle, we can all agree this card has turned out to be quite the nuisance, quite the problematic appearance, especially in Top Legend gameplay. Getting Infinity decks, first with Warrior, now with Shamans, is a little bit too much. And I think it's high time that this guy received the Titan treatment, where you can no longer get more than one of these per game. Or, no, more like the Zarimi treatment, which has been like that since the card ever came out to be, but apparently now we have reached a critical mass of negativity provided by this card, so it's time it gets slapped. And I do believe Fizzle is no longer going to be able to give you more than one snapshot, and also the snapshot is not going to be able to get triggered more than a single time. And that basically deletes Infinity decks as a whole, which is honestly a good thing if you ask me. Like I said, now we can both see Terran Warrior and Terran Shaman being the main offenders with this thing. I don't think anybody else managed to really pull off some Infinity bullshit like that. Like Warriors do it with the help of Zola, Shamans do it with the help of Triangulate, and both decks are extremely disgusting to lose against. Like that sense of inevitability, them being able to do that thing over and over again. Even if you can handle it the first couple of times, it's just no point because they literally are Infinity able to do that unless you have some way to disrupt their hand, and even then it's anyone's guess if it's gonna work or not. So yeah, I don't think anything else would be a realistic change for Fizzle here, so do expect that to be happening to the guy. And I, for one, am pretty happy that we're no longer gonna get to face this obnoxious archetype. Speaking of obnoxious archetypes, moving down to Nexus Prince Shaffar, he was that oppressive to the point where they literally had to ban it 6 hours into the new mini set. Because Zergs were literally going rampant with it, and not to mention Shaffar Rogue was still an absolutely disgusting deck to lose to with this thing. Like, look at this 60% win rate. I'm not saying it's the only 60% win rate deck or anything like that, but God knows it was a super disgusting deck to be losing to like that, and it was not easy to pull it off, at least for most people. But once you get the hang of it, it was smooth sailing for most. We can also see some Zerg Hunters were rising in popularity, like I did notice it on the first few hours. Obviously everybody noticed it in the first few hours. I think even Death Knight managed to pull off some of that, but I think the stats are a little bit too sparse here. So yeah, Shaffar was indeed a big problem, and what could they do here? Maybe reduce this down to a +1/+1. That ought to do it. What else could they realistically touch here that can really change the course of this card? Maybe they won't allow the buff to stack. Maybe they won't allow the buff to double up. I mean, that's a good idea for Shaffar Rogue, but for Zerg Hunter, I still think it's gonna work poorly like that for the opponent at least, because the main problem with this card, with Rogue at least, was that Bargain Bin got summoned the copy of the copy, and things went out of hand really fast, but we saw that that wasn't the only issue. We saw that Zerglings also basically made the same thing. So yeah, I'd say they either reduce this drastically down to a +1/+1, or they don't allow the buff to stack, so you no longer can actually have something double proc or triple proc that way. That definitely should tone the card down. In both cases, I think we can still expect this thing to be back in some Zerg Hunters and Death Knights, but I would not hold my breath for Rogues anymore. because the whole deck was really revolving around this, whereas a single card into a Zerg deck, I can see that working out decently well, because the Zerg package is strong enough on its own, whereas this guy, it's literally in the name, it's Shaffar Rogue, whereas this thing is a Zerg Hunter, same with Death Knight. I think the archetype works wonderfully without it, and I think it should work decent with it still, like probably better than it is right now, so this card coming back to standard should be helping Zerg decks, but I would not hold my breath to see Shaffar Rogues back on the meta. And lastly, we can move down to the Void Ray, which, as you guys see, right now we don't really have anything to write home about in terms of good Protoss decks. The best we can hope for would be apparently Protoss Rogue, and I'm not even sure these stats are that accurate. Haven't seen a single Protoss Rogue for the life of me. But maybe it is somewhat playable, and it's only a 56-ish with under 1000 games, so nothing too amazing. Protoss Priest as well, Protoss Mage, that's about it. No, we can't really see any straight-up Protoss Druids, it seems, because the other archetypes for Druid are just so much better, I guess. And here was the change. Like, I guess the health area is quite low. Reducing the mana cost for this guy doesn't make too much sense. It's either going to be a 3-2 or a 4-1, something along those lines if you ask me, and I wouldn't really hold my breath too much for that to make too much of an impact. I don't know, I'm not really sold on this thing doing all that much. It's good that they're trying to bring it up a little, but I don't think this card is gonna do all that much. But then again, I would be afraid to do much else. Like, technically, all of the other StarCraft cards have this thing. That draws them a couple of cards and does something extra for only 3 mana, where this is at 4, but this giving them a 3-4 charge Zealot. That definitely warrants the increase in mana, so I'm not for buffing this card up, but that would definitely bring the Protoss class a lot better. Buffing this guy, I'm not sure it's gonna do all that much. Like right now, we are seeing some Protoss cards getting used, but no real full archetypes, and I don't think buffing this card will do all that much. Maybe if they give it the lifesteal treatment, like basically a Tigress plushie, that ought to do it, but I doubt that's gonna happen, so I don't know. I'm not too sold that this card is gonna get very buffed, or if it's gonna be very impactful altogether. So that's about it for the patch notes. Do let me know what you guys think in the comments below, what these changes might be. Do you think I'm on the right track? Do you have better ideas? Do let me know. Would love to hear from you. We should be hearing exactly what the nerfs are tomorrow, and we should be seeing the nerfs going live on Thursday if the patch schedule goes as it used to historically, so be on the lookout for a video tomorrow, as well as the patch in a few days from now. Hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, a like and subscribe would really help. Thanks for watching. I'm Kris05, and I'll see you in my next video or stream.